all, this is William Andradny from Dark Matter Solutions, coming to you today with our first video of the Knowledge Learning series. Today we're going to go over Microsoft Failover Clusters and talk a little bit about that. So, Microsoft's definition of a failover cluster is a failover cluster is a group of independent computers that work together to increase the availability and scalability of clustered roles, also known as application or services. So, what does that mean? Well, my definition of a failover cluster is two or more computers that are connected together to provide redundancy in the event of a failover. For example, I have a file server in location A, and if that file server fails and I still need access to those files, what do? Well, in a clustered environment, the service or the server, virtualized or whatever, will then be made available on that second server when they're clustered together. So, pretty interesting concept. We're going to go over a diagram here that kind of gives you an idea of what's happening, and don't worry, we're gonna kind of give an idea of what's happening here. First off, we're going to go over the interfaces to get connected to, what some of the items here are, such as this guy, these guys, and the SAN array. So let's start off with these two guys right here. We have two servers in our failover cluster here. Server 1, which is a Hyper-V server, and server 2. So these servers need to know when one goes up or down, and they also need to know some basic information about each other in order to properly communicate, properly cluster with each other. So they do that via a heartbeat. So these computers are directly connected or via a switch connected to each other, and they send things that are called heartbeats, and it's just basically a way to monitor the status of both of the computers. They're constantly in communication with each other. So in addition to that, they're connected to a SAN array. Now this could be any shared resource, a hard drive resource, so it could be a NAS, which is a network attached storage, or a shared folder on another server if you wanted it to. And in this case, it's basically a storage area network, which is a series of hard drives connected into each other to make really large volumes or multiple different size volumes. And in this case, they're connected what's called iSCSI. Another common connection is called fiber, but iSCSI is really becoming quite popular. They're connected into a thing called a controller card, or a RAID controller card, and they're usually, in particular this instance, there are usually two connections. Each server needs to connect to each controller card in a crisscross pattern. That way you're creating a two-form redundancy. If, say, this cable goes out, I'm still connected to it with this server on this one, or if this one came out, I'm still connected to this controller card with this server. If you're basically creating dual redundancy. So the final connection is the connection to the internet. So you're going to generally have one connection that connects into a switch for the server itself, and then another connection for the resources on the computer. So this is the basic layout of a failover cluster, and Hyper-V in particular is just a way of virtualizing a computer, so putting a computer within a computer and having it highly available through a failover cluster. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense. You're generally going to see these at a lot of enterprise environments where services like file services or internet or DHCP services are going to need to be highly available. So, and for example, we were talking about that file server that you have at your office. This file server goes down, connected to this computer. How am I going to access my files? Well, communicating that I'm now offline and that you should now take control of the resource, this file server is now going to become available on here. And anybody who uses it will seem none the wiser because the resource is available. So I hope that gives you a general outline of what this clustering is, and next week we'll talk about something completely different, and I hope you enjoyed it, and have a wonderful day.